Are you as ready as Freddy can be?
Ready, Freddy? How
Ready?
that happen?
I
Where'd
don't
that
know.
come from?
Ready, Freddy?
Ready, Freddy. Okay. one of the things that when you learn a new language, you just have to learn all these like little idioms and way to say things. And one of the funny one that I learned was that in America, apparently the U.S., you play a game called Marco Polo in the
That's
pool,
right.
and I had no idea. And so the first time that somebody called my name in a grocery store, I heard an echo of polo, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Exactly.
So that's how you learn.
There you go. I think you're going to
Finding.
start hearing. You're going to hear it at Black Hat now,
Oh
moving
yeah.
forward.
I hope this doesn't start an actual trend because
There you go.
not a big fan, but I'm not gonna get
Ah,
offended either. That's
all
all.
right. There you go. I'll
It's
try to
all
offend you
fun.
in other ways.
It's all fun and game.
There you
Sean,
go.
welcome
Yes,
back
I know. We're back from Vegas, and
from
it,
Vegas. It's
it was
been
a.
a while though.
It's been a few days. We've been busy producing content, and we wrote a couple articles, and yeah, I think we touched on the same thing. Obviously, we're at the same conference, so we saw the same stuff, but look at it from different ways, of course.
As a matter of fact, I think that the old trigger was that fun little and last video that we did, the recap, when everybody left, and I say you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, which is a famous song that I really like. And we were hanging in front of the Black Hat sign, and we kind of thought it, think back to what the conversation we had, and God, we had many,
Right.
a lot with sponsors and briefings and friends and experts that we got together either on camera and on the mic or off the record.
Yeah,
But
a
I
lot,
think
a
it's
lot off the
stick.
record.
Yeah, but I think those are the ones that's naturally stuck in your mind.
I know. Funny enough. Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to name any names, but yeah, there were a lot of conversations with CISOs around the buzzwords are flying, which happens all the time, right? Each year, it's a different set of buzzwords. I think what's frustrated many of them, and this is what I wrote about in my first article, was that it's hard for them to siphon through the noise, sift through the noise, I should say, and figure out what the heck is really going on. How does this fit into my program? How does it change my team structure? How does it impact my tech stack? How does it change my operations? How do I look at risk? How do I manage blah, 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 blah. What's it going to do for me? And everything's just AI enabled, AI powered, autonomous SOC, this. Nothing against the companies trying to deliver things. I think there's a lot of innovation there. It really boils down to marketing and connecting the capability to the program, to the outcome, to the business benefit. And so that's what
Yeah.
my first piece is all about, which is
But it goes deeper than that. I mean, that's the beginning. That's what we mentioned when we
yeah,
were there. And as you start talking about that, you at least while we were there, we start going a little bit deeper. And so it's easy to point the fingers to marketing messaging, because we did predict agentic AI. And I mean, we had it on the bingo card, and how can you not? We did the webinar before the event. We had really cool people be part of it. And I think we predicted pretty accurately what was going on. So that's fun if people want to go back and look at how many people actually predicted right. And it was agentic AI. And I felt like I walked in there, and it happened every year. I mean, there is that something or a couple of things that are kind of in every message, every headline, every banner. It's kind of like lingering. It's like a fog that linger in the expo hall, and almost like they all agree we're going to talk about that. And I know they didn't agree. It's just that it happened that you need to have that in your tech. And this year was obviously agentic AI. So I think that was my piece, actually. I presented like a myth of, an ancient Greek classic Greek era myth of Talos, which is like an agentic AI robot that was supposed to patrol the shore, and every time they will see like an enemy boat, he would just throw stuff at it and he will make decision on his own. So it was agentic. It wasn't just say, hey guys, there is something wrong here, but what should we do? No, he was actually throwing stones at this boat, and then it was all strong and powerful until somebody found a way, pretty much like a nail in the, kind of like Achilles, and all the juice of the gods came out of it, and so it lost his life. And the lesson is not perfect, and maybe we shouldn't give all our decision making to an agentic AI. And it goes deeper than that. And I think there is this idea that you were mentioning where why do we have to inflate the good news so much? I mean, a balloon is good. Why does it have to be a huge balloon?
Well, the Macy's Day Parade has some cool balloons. But yeah, I think kind of to your point, when we put our trust and our actions in the hands of something, we better know how it works. And if every organization has AI inside, then I don't know, do we need to say that? And instead of using that space to say we're using AI, instead say this is how we're helping you make the decision so you can achieve X, Y, and Z. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are. I didn't analyze every booth and every banner and every slideshow on screens to see how deep companies got in this messaging, but during the conversations with CISO, they're like, it's too high level. In the elevator pitch, I don't know what you do. It's hard to know what you do. It's hard to differentiate from the other 10 that are doing, quote unquote, the same thing because they have AI inside as well. And I think to have the trust of the system, you need to know how it works. And if it's overinflated, maybe you need to know that too. Maybe there's some way to take advantage of it being overinflated, or to fill the gaps of it being overinflated. But you have to know that in order to do that. So,
well, so I paid attention. You paid attention on LinkedIn and in the conversation we had on the floor in the corridor, but also on LinkedIn after. We weren't the only one feeling like that. Well, a ton of people were actually talking about that. People that are probably even way more qualified than me to go and probe to the engineers, the sales reps, and the people on the floor and say, well, can you go a little bit deeper in what it does? And sometimes the answer wasn't exactly what the marketing message was, because maybe they weren't even paying attention what the marketing message was. And so I feel like there was almost like a discrepancy from how powerful the marketing message was in regards to agentic AI. Well, when you talk to the experts and the people that develop those things, they were like, well, it was hard for them to justify how strong the message is. That's my feeling. And that's why I say inflating the benefit a little bit too much. And being a CISO or anybody that make decision for a company to invest that kind of money, then what you do, you really need to say, all right, it's almost like a used car salesman. All right, this is what you tell me. Now let me open the car and either test drive it or look at the engine, and it really does it have what you say it has. I don't think it's fair for the industry.
No, and I think that's kind of where I want to go with this particular point in the conversation, is that CISOs genuinely want help. They want help. I know there's a lot of conversations or posts on LinkedIn and other places saying, don't bother me unless I'm looking, I'll reach out to you. But ultimately they want to know what's available, how it can help them. And they want a relationship with the people that that they're going to do the work with, and the relationship starts with trust. And so you have to be able to communicate what your product does. You have to be able to communicate how you're going to help the CISO with the product and solution. And that's a relationship that's built on trust. And if it starts off on the wrong foot, you lose the CISO.
Well, that's the marketing side and the business relationship, the partnership and I think we already said enough about that, and maybe the role of marketing that needs to be rethink a little bit. But I go more on that on the second article. This one would really make me think to where you flip it from the floor of a cybersecurity conference to the real world is the fact that we're all trying to do the same thing right now, just to say, just get your ChatGPT or your Claude or your Perplexity, whatever, your Gemini, whatever you want. And you think that it's so perfect that you're just going to push a button, and the easy button, and say, just write this thing for me. It ain't going to work. I mean, that's why a lot of people are online talking about, like, you can recognize if it's written, the M dash or one thing and another. It's like, that's the tool that helps you to eventually make a decision. Am I going to publish this? Is this video good enough? Is this report good enough? Is this product good enough to say, let the agentic AI do everything for you? We're not there. And I hope, from a societal perspective, that we never get there. We always need to be the one that make that kind of decision. We don't want a monster statue that throw rock. It's the same thing when you talk about AI weapon. Do you really want to trust the weapon to just go and shoot everybody? I don't. And sure, people go crazy. I'm not saying it's not, but at least you can tell it's a human factor, and that's the people that ultimately decide. So my point is, we should never completely give the decision power to
you.
Not to me for sure, but when they say AI fix AI, technology fix technology, these are tools. And I know in the end everybody said that. These are tools that needs to help us. They're not, because then we lose our nature. If we don't make decisions anymore, we're going to turn out in a lot of those sci-fi story, like the Time Machine, where we become, dumb. We have everything we need. We don't need to make decisions, but we also lose everything that make us human. Interesting thing, learning, resolving the problems, and all of that. So I hope that doesn't happen. But then you wrote another article.
Well, it's kind of a segue from what you just said there. In fact, in that, I mean, the current reality of AI is it's driven by stuff that's already been done. So it's been trained on other things that already exist. And when you prompt it, you get back some variation of that information. And I think, specifically around cybersecurity, but I think in general, I have this view that we'll settle on this common denominator of, this is what you prompt, this is what you're going to get back. Everybody, I'm using big words here, everybody will always right, come back with a similar thing. And to your point with the easy button, if we completely just use it for the easy button, we'll stop thinking, and we won't use it as a tool to make our minds better, to make our decisions better. We'll just use it to become more efficient, and we'll plateau. High or low common denominator, I call it the bottom level common denominator. But at some point we're going to plateau, and that's what we'll live with. And it may be good enough, but I'm afraid that we won't know if we can do better, because we won't challenge the response.
Well, some people are saying right now, when they released ChatGPT 5, and most people don't like it because for a lot of reasons, maybe save on computing power, but it kind of take the shortcut to an older GPT for easy question, and then it decides where is it going to be thinking or not thinking. But some people say that maybe this is the moment where the generative AI is kind of hit a plateau, And is that where you're going with that? Like,
yeah, we hit a plateau, and we become lazy as humans, and so the plateau's reached. We don't push it anymore, and it just happens as it goes. I think what I also heard, and I'm trying to think what I just had the thought in my head now, um, is kind of this example, kind of delivering the GPT-5 was that initially I don't think you could actually change which model. So I think you automatically got upgraded to 5, and the point that was being made by some of the
you
CISOs I
had the
was talking to.
5 and the thinking 5.
Right, but I
But
think the
now they
point,
went back to choosing 4 because people were unhappy with 5.
right, exactly. And so the point that was made to me was you do all this work, you actually create the prompts to get the response that you want, and you bring it to some consistency with regular, right? You can determine and expect what you're going to get back from it based on the prompts. And then they change the model, and also all the automation that you've set up, and all the projects and all the prompts and all the what do you call it, the let me just look so I make sure, all of the instructions, right,
The
for the
knowledge
project.
base.
Yeah, yeah, the instructions and all the base and any files, if all the learning that you give it to get out of it what you want may not work. and so and so there's that whole other point where if we become reliant upon it and expect a certain response, we will probably always get it, except when it breaks. I don't
You
know.
know, we are at
I'm kind of
17
rambling.
minutes. But
Yeah, but
anyway, I think it's
anyway.
interesting. But I think what it needs to be considered too is this chase and race to always something new and always something better. Always, every new iteration, it needs to be so astonishing, so much cooler, so cool. And I think a lot of people were pretty happy with the 4. To go back to that example, now you can take that example, bring it to any other product. Why do I need a new freaking iPhone every year? Actually, I don't. At a certain point, the camera was good enough, the speed was good enough that, I'd start skipping a generation, maybe even 2 if I can. And then same thing could be for cars and other technology and computer. And I think it could be the same thing for cybersecurity. It could mess up things to this constant change, structural change. I mean, I think you can improve, you upgrade, but it's like, oh, the brand new freaking thing. That's what I think the myth of the agentic AI was. Because I don't think it's absolutely there. It can help you to alert, it can help you to research, it can help you to threat intelligence, whatever. I don't know. Those are more terminology for you. For me, it can help me with my research. It can be better in finding sources, in putting there some philosophical thoughts, sociological, psychological, literary, and look and brainstorm with me. But I don't want a freaking thing that writes for me or that even think for me, which is what it actually brings me to my last article, which is going even deeper, where I kind of talk about the paradox of the narrative attack, which we spoke with at I spoke with Chris Pearson, for example, about that. Where it's pretty much social engineering plus old school propaganda, just to the next level of customization and exploitation and mass attack. They change the perception of reality. And I feel like a lot of people may not agree with me, but I feel like the perception of reality on the floor was exactly that. I said marketing just took all the cool technology that each vendor had, put in a blender, and then it just made a shake that just tastes the freaking same thing and is not even that good. And everybody was telling the same story instead of having their differences very clearly marked there. And I feel like then we all perceive reality to be different from what it is. And then it creates a circular knowledge learning where we use AI to create the knowledge, then to ask the question, then to give the answers. And so not only we give away the decision making, but we even give away the way that we learn things. Because we don't know what we're actually learning if we cannot be critic anymore and ask question and doubt things and be a little bit more, I don't know, don't believe to everything that tells you someone, even less AI.
Now, that was kind of the main point of my second article, which is we then, if we rely on it, we're told then that this is the reality. This is what good looks like.
Yep.
Here's how you measure it. And what do you know? We're looking pretty good. Why? Because we were just told this is what success looks like.
It's an echo chamber too.
And we did it. Woohoo! Success. And yeah, I think we need, and that's where I think the lowest common denominator comes in, where we reach that point, we start to define our programs, run our programs with what we think success looks like, and we don't challenge it. I'm not saying we don't, but I'm afraid that if we don't think about it, we might get to a point where we don't challenge it. We don't think about blowing everything up and looking at what success really should look like, not just what AI says because it was trained a certain way to tell us that MTTR should be this. Well, maybe we don't look at MTTR. Maybe there's a different way to even look at things. So it's kind of
become uniform, and I think you call it like a very low common denominator that is just good enough for everybody.
right.
And that's probably what is going to put us in big trouble. Which I also refer. I know you quoted the my bird, the canary in the mine. The canary can't smell anymore. It may still be able to sing, but if it doesn't smell, it's not going to let us know what's going on. And I think that's exactly what we're doing now. We're just becoming dumb and numb. More than dumb, but become numb to everything else because we're just not thinking with our own head. And I think, I'm sorry, but marketing and branding has a big responsibility in doing this. My message is just sell what the great product that your company has, because every product we heard of, it's definitely innovative. It definitely works. It wouldn't be there with a lot of money invested in it. But accept the fact that it's an imperfect product. They're always going to be. It's not unhackable. I think we went over this several Black Hat and RSA conference ago. We need to accept that perfection does not exist there. And so why should a perfection exist now that we have the new player AI in the equation? And now we think that, here we go, the salvation is here. We're all good. We don't need to do shit anymore because AI is doing it for us.
Yeah, I think that was the final point I'll make, and then we'll go. Is that CISOs also said, don't be afraid to share your blemishes, share your weaknesses, share your gaps. That'll help us understand how we can help you. And just to say, we can do everything with AI, and your team is going to shrink in size, and you're going to perform better, and you can cut your budget and all this stuff. It doesn't stack up.
It doesn't help us as an industry. It doesn't help us as a society, and it doesn't help certainly us to be more secure. It's the illusion. You're selling the illusion of security, and that could be something that then you replicate in other industry. You can sell the illusion of being healthy, or in the healthcare system, or the perfect diagnosis, or the perfect financial prediction, or the perfect what. And again, stop looking for the easy button and stop selling the easy button, because your product is probably as good. It's probably good as it is. Just Let's all work together, especially with the people that then are going to end up using the product. They're going to find out. CISOs are not stupid. I know a lot of them.
They talk to each other.
They talk to each other. So it will come out. The truth will come out. The truth will come out. And Sean, this is probably finally, rightfully so, our last piece related to Black Hat USA 2025, which was a blast. We had a good time in Las Vegas. There is a page where people can go, BH USA 25 on ITSP Magazine. All the conversation are there, all the amazing sponsors and the briefing we had. And also they can find the article that we wrote, When Artificial Intelligence Become the Baseline, Will We Ever Know What Reality Is Anymore? Which is you. Anymore? AI anymore?
AI anymore.
There's a series of jokes there that we did online, by the way. Mine is the agentic AI myth in cybersecurity and humanity. We risk when we stop deciding for ourselves. Then there is a second one from Sean, how novel is novelty. Security leaders try to cut through the cybersecurity vendor echo chamber at Black Hat 2025. And mine is the narrative attack paradox, when cybersecurity lost the ability to detect its own deception and the humanity we risk when truth become optional. Wow. Sounds we're pretty smart. I can't believe I actually wrote that stuff. Nah, we're having a good time, and I think it's important that we go a little bit deeper in our thinking. I think we do our job by doing that. So that was fun.
There we go. Look at that.
Go ahead.
We talk about it. Yeah, I'm excited to keep the conversations going. More talks about how to redefine cybersecurity on my podcast, Redefining Cybersecurity, and more events coming up. So we'll do more on location, different parts of the world. Stay tuned on itspmagazine.com/on-location for everywhere we will be this year.
Yeah. And we got webinars. We're pretty much giving them away like they were, ice cream taste. Like, you want to taste this chocolate? It's really good. Have it. So you should come and try. It's the same cool conversation, thought leadership, except we actually get some leads. I mean, we always get leads. But, you want a guarantee? We'll guarantee the leads. Just come on. Give it a go. Give it a taste. It's good chocolate. It's good chocolate.
Yeah, we'll connect those dots in a meaningful way. All right, let's say goodbye. Thanks everybody for listening, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Bye-bye.